Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. Some of my first childhood memories had to do with computers. My parents knew very early on that I would never be an artist or an athlete, and in 1981, I got a Commodore VIC-20. That was a pretty adult birthday gift for a 7-year-old. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've always liked computers. SCYTHE is a Japanese company who only make very affordable high-end air cooling products. I've actually used a couple of their products in the past before they contacted me for this video. I like them because they seem to pack a bunch of heatsink into a very small space. And with no moving parts, passive air coolers are always dead silent and super reliable. Welcome to a performance review and overview of the SCYTHE Ninja 5, how it works, and if it's right for you. Let's begin. The Ninja 5 is SCYTHE's largest cooler, and despite its lower price point, it has some fantastic features such as soldered fins and a polished plate. Metal fins dissipate heat based on their surface area, so it makes sense that adding a lot more fins is going to spread out the load and is going to dissipate even more heat. The heat that a CPU makes is normally proportional to the work that's being done. More cores and higher clocks will both add more heat. Pushing a beefy overclock will also push even higher. That heat needs to be taken away, and usually that's done with a fin-based heatsink or an all-in-one liquid cooler. Liquid is more effective at removing heat, so when combined with a pump, radiator, and fans, you can run a more aggressive load, stable and safe. The risk is very low, but water cooling requires a mechanical pump, which is a point of failure. There's also always a risk of leak, and normally an all-in-one cooler is more expensive. If a pump fails, the system will overheat almost immediately, which brings up my first pro for air cooling. If you often run your PC without supervision for long periods of time, there's some peace of mind. Both of my main systems are currently liquid cooled, but they're off when I'm not using them. The heat pipes used in most air coolers are very remarkable. A normal copper rod will transmit heat, however at only 1/90th as effectively as a similarly sized heat pipe. Heat pipes are hollow tubes, sealed in a partial vacuum with a small quantity of liquid trapped inside. Heat is moved through a phase shift that begins at the plate, traveling to the fins and back again. The liquid condenses at the fin grid and gives off a significant amount of heat in the process. The condensed liquid is wicked by a thin wire mesh and brought back to the plate through surface tension. All this happens without moving parts. The advantages are robust, durable, reliable, effective, and silent. The Ninja 5 comes with mounting hardware for both Intel and AMD. The quality is great and their attention to detail is apparent, even including the required long screwdriver and a larger than needed tube of compound so that you could apply it several times. My testing methodology was out of curiosity rather than a scientific approach. My hottest CPU is an Intel 9900K, which for this test was dialed down to an overclock of 4.8 on all cores at 1.35 volts. I was expecting this test to fail. Even with the optional fan set to 100%, the CPU is notorious for making heat. Cinebench as a test is effective at finding maximum workload, and with all cores within 10 seconds, the CPU was over 60 degrees Celsius. At 20 seconds, the CPU was at 80 degrees. I decided to shut the test down. So I wasn't really disappointed because the test confirmed what I thought would happen. And you're probably thinking, case closed, never buy an air cooler. But it's not that simple. There are many situations where an air cooler is viable and actually wanted. If you're planning a system to crunch Cinebench, Blender, Handbrake, WinZip, or other sustained maximum load tasks, you'd probably be looking at liquid anyways. Most games actually use very little CPU, relying mainly on GPU. Tasks like watching movies on VLC or streaming services have similar low CPU loads. I decided to keep testing. Lower power CPUs like the 9600K that's in the VR computer ran with the results that I was looking for. Over an hour in Project Cars 2, it never exceeded 46 degrees. Over an hour in Battlefield 5, it never exceeded 56 degrees. I'm going to close out this video explaining where the SCYTHE Ninja 5 ended up being installed permanently and why. I have a media PC in the studio which runs 24/7. I use it as a capture PC for camera, screen grabbing Twitch streams like CitizenCon. When it was on liquid, it made a lot of pump noise, and although low risk, the pump could technically fail when I was at work. In the media PC, the Ninja 5 relies only on the case fans that are running at 400 RPM. The Ninja 5 in that configuration is so effective no matter what I'm doing. If it's streaming, unzipping files, it's never crossed over 35 degrees, and the fans are dead silent. The Ninja 5 would be comfortable all the way up to 8700K. Its price point at $60 is 1/3 the cost of most 240mm all-in-ones. It has no moving parts, so it won't fail, and it's dead silent. If you're planning an upgrade or a build, I'd ask that you check out the great quality air coolers that they offer. The links are provided in the description. Thanks very much for spending your time with me, and thank you to SCYTHE for offering the product so I could test it for you. Stay tuned because they also sent a selection of their 120mm case fans. I have some test gear coming so I can quantify the results for you. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.